Hello everyone and welcome. Today we're going to be working on this washing machine. It has a bit of a problem, which is common for, machines once they get a little bit older. What happens is, and in case you run into a problem like this, let me break it down for you. The hot water seems to be working fine, but the cold water is not. What happens is that when you're washing and so forth, if you're doing a load of mixed temperatures, it'll run fine when it's running in warm or hot temperature. But when the cold water is supposed to kick in, it'll stop. The spin cycle won't work, and the cold water comes out like a trickle. It dribbles in, where the hot water comes in like a gusher. So there's plenty of hot water coming in, but no cold water coming in. So the machine knows that there's no cold water coming in, so it shuts off. So these machines are very simple. Unlike the newer ones, this is an oldie but a goodie. It's from the 90s, and it's older. It's mostly mechanical devices inside. Very little circuit board, if any, where the newer ones are mostly all circuitry, circuit boards and so forth. So this one, I am guessing, I haven't taken it apart yet. We're going to do that in just a moment. But I am guessing that the cold water actuator is probably plugged up or broken, one or the other. And it's not letting the cold water in. And that's why the machine keeps shutting off, because it notices it has no water pressure and it shuts itself off. So I'm going to pull this out of there right now, and I'm going to start taking it apart. And I've never taken this machine apart, so we're both going to figure it out together. So let me pull this out where I can work on it, and we'll get started. All right, to give you an idea of what we're dealing with here, you notice that I put it in hot right there. And if I turn on the washer, you notice we get plenty of water coming in. Now let me switch it over to cold, and you'll see the difference. And that's what happens when you go to cold. You get a dribble, a trickle, nothing, barely, hardly anything at all coming through. So that's the problem we're dealing with. So let's open it up and see what's going on. Okay, so on this model, there's a couple screws there to take off on each end, and the control panel should flip up. Now I'm going to flip it up and I'll bring you back, as this is a two-handed operation. Okay, so when we come back, all you do is flip it open. It's hinged on the back, and you can see all the internals right there. Now this is all the electronic controls for it, and you can see very little circuitry. It's all mechanical switching. And we have to get under here because the water connections are right there. So that tells you the actuator is going to be behind it on that part of the tub right there. So I need to take off the top of it to get to the tub to figure out how to get through that. So let me figure that out. I'll be right back. And yes, I see the corrosion on that hose. Okay, so the next step to get this loosened up is there are these two clips on each side that go into the tub like that. And all you do is pry them up, take them off, and then the back panel becomes loose. And then the back part here separates from the tub. And you disconnect this to disconnect it from the tub here. So I'm going to pry this back loosely. I can't hold the camera and do that at the same time because I'm afraid it'll just flop backwards and get out of control. So let me pull this back and support it in such a fashion that I can bring you back and show you what I'm doing. Oh no, things got out of control. Well, actually, no, they didn't. I was able to figure it out. And actually, the back did not flop back like I was thinking it would. I thought it would just flop back and possibly crash on the ground. So that's why I put the camera down. But actually, it holds itself in place quite well, as you can see. It's held down to the bottom with some clips or something down there. I don't need to take that out. This is the part that we're after right here. That's the water actuator for both hot and cold. So that's the part that I'm going to need to replace. But the convenient thing is that the tub actually just flips forward. So that was quite easy right there. You can see all I had to do was flip it forward, and I have access to everything under there. So it's very easy, very convenient to do. And look at all the years of dirt and grime and buildup. I'm going to have to clean that up before I put the tub back on it. But my goodness, all the things that you can't see. Because you can't see under there. You can't reach under there. It just builds up and, well, you clean it up when you have to do some maintenance like this. And there are all the schematics right there. If you ever have a problem, at least Whirlpool was convenient enough to put the schematics in there. So you know everything you need to do when you access the machine. So I'm going to take this off of here and get some model numbers and stuff like that off of it and see if I order one. But first of all, maybe I'll take a look and see if it can be cleaned up, but I'll probably wind up ordering one. Okay guys, so here is the actuator solenoid removed. And you can see it really doesn't look all that bad. It had these two little screens on the inside, and I took them out thinking they were all plugged up, but really they're not. They're actually just fine. I mean, you can see right through it. See, the water has no trouble getting through that. So they're not plugged up. So I think the actuator, I mean, that's just, a little bit of garbage on the mesh, to be expected. But I do have a water softener, so that catches most of the garbage from the city water. And I don't think it's plugged up. I think it just is old and time to be replaced. As you can see on the inside there, can't get the lighting too well, but just a couple of little pebbles and garbage in there. But I think the unit is just old and bad. Like I said, this machine's about 30 years old, so things will break down. And this is a cheap part. It's like 10 bucks. So I will order this, and when I get it back in, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, so here we are a few days later. As you can see, I cleaned up the machine so it looks like brand new. Well, as close as we can get it anyway. It looks a heck of a lot cleaner instead of years of buildup. And cleaned the inside of the tub and all that kind of stuff, so it looks pretty darn good. Anyway, so I have the new inlet valve in, and the red one there is the old one. The blue one is the new one, and it looks pretty darn close. It looks to be the same pump, or not pump. It looks to be the same inlet. So let's put that on right now and see if it fits. All right, I didn't show you how to take it off, but I'll show you how to install it. It's just the reverse to take it off. Very simple. This is the way this goes set up right here. The pump, or the inlet, I keep calling it a pump. The inlet on this side and the two solenoids on this side over here, just like that. And you hook up the hose to the bottom. That's where the water goes into the machine. Hook that up there. Let me loosen up the clamp a little bit so I can get it in all the way. You should loosen up the clamp first or you're not fighting with it. That's a smart way to do it. There we go, all the way up there. Now put the clamp back where it belongs, and it's generally better to put the clamp right back in the groove where you had it previously so that you don't cause any more damage to the hose. It already has a groove set in there, just utilize what you already have. And let's see, the machine's unplugged, so I don't need to worry about it. The cold goes on the top, at least on this machine. Follow whatever your machine does. The cold goes on the top, and the hot goes on the bottom for my machine. And got to make sure we get them in there. And the red one is for the hot. Generally should be about the same for yours, but just in case, follow what your machine has and you should be fine. There we go. Got the two little servos or solenoids, whatever they're called, set up. Now all we do is put it in there. And a couple of screws from the other side back here on the back, a couple of screws, and that'll hold it in place. And amazingly enough, the screw holes actually line up. Not like some aftermarket parts that they never line up. This one actually does. There you go, and we're all set. Now all I got to do is hook up the water lines, and we'll be ready to go. Alright, we'll hook up the water lines right now. I'm going to go with the old black ones for right now, just for testing purposes. But I did get a whole new set of nice new braided lines for better protection and no chance of it bursting. So I'm going to install these after I'm done. But for right now, I want to test it, make sure everything works properly, and show you guys proof of concept that everything is working. So let's just set it up real quick just to make sure everything is okay. And these are very simple to install, just like a garden hose. You just thread it on and you're good to go. And we'll turn on the water and we'll see what happens. Okay guys, here we go. I put it all back together. You can see it installed right there. That's the new one right there. You can see the water hoses going to it. Yeah, a little drip. I'll take care of all that in a moment. No big deal. This is just for testing right now. So let's test it out. Make sure it works properly. You see I have it set to cold. Let's turn it on and see what happens. And there you go. Plenty of water coming in. Let's move it over to hot and see what happens. And there you go. Plenty of water coming in. So that's it. That fixed it. Proof of concept right there. Both cold and hot, both of them are coming in plentiful water. So all I got to do is put this back together and we are fixed. So just to reiterate, let me turn that off. A little hard with it all wobbly like that. Just to reiterate, in case you missed the reason that I'm doing this. This is the water inlet valve for the washing machine. And if you're not getting cold water, or not getting hot water, or not getting any water at all, or the machine shuts off in the middle of different cycles, spin, rinse, washing, whatever it is, that valve is bad. Your water inlet valve is bad. It's not letting water go into the machine, or it's going in very, very low pressure, and the machine will shut itself off if it doesn't think it's getting enough water. So if you have any of those problems, no water or the machine shutting off, you know that's the thing you got to replace right there. So I will put all this back together, and like I said, I have new hoses to install, and I will be done with this project. Okay guys, time for some bonus footage. Are you curious like me what's inside this valve contraption thing? Well, the new one I'm not going to mess with because it's brand new and I already installed it. And besides that, it's a sealed unit. This one, though, can be taken apart. It has a few screws. I've taken some of them out already. And let's take out the last couple right here and find out exactly what's inside this unit and what makes it tick. Obviously, if you've done this before, you know what's inside of it. But if you're like me, that you've never dealt with this before, you have no idea what's inside. So before I throw this puppy away, let's find out exactly what makes it tick. Just out of curiosity, not like we're going to fix it or anything. Take the screws off, take it apart slowly, and what do we find inside? And that's what you get. And inside here, you get, some plungers, and obviously, well, here we have an intact plunger right there, and it's just a plunger, probably has a magnet up here somewhere. These little solenoids probably change from positive to negative. You can see they're smooth inside. There's nothing inside there. So they probably change polarity, and then causing this to go up or down. Depending on the polarity of it, it drives the magnet up or down, causing the plunger to allow water in or out, depending on what you need. Because it doesn't regulate the water. All it is on or off. And then the plunger is just a spring, and the magnet, this is probably a magnet right here. It's not magnetic, but it does seem to be, well, it is metal. But it's not a magnet per se, it's magnetic. I mean, it's a metal, it's a piece of metal, and that obviously changes the polarity, causing it to move. And that's all you get. And then the plunger, this one's stuck in there now, who cares? I'm gonna throw it away anyway. But that's all it is. There you go. There we go, got it out. And there you see inside, it just channels for the water to go. And that's it. There you go. Very simple device. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it solved your problem for you and I showed you how to do it. Any questions, comments, put them down below. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye for now.